So, hi.
Hello.
The community really responded well to you guys, the effort you do and SOE put into the game. It kind of turned you guys into a mini celebrity. Does it feel like that at all?
No, not really. I feel like I just go to work and do my job. It's fun to communicate with people. I really love how much back and forth we have with the community. But I don't feel like any sort of like celebrity status. I get recognized by people now for sure. Right, yeah. But it's never like a, oh my god, it's Matt. It's more like, hey Matt, it's like hey Austin. And I love that. That's what's good.
I just kind of talk to you like a person. There's a lot, you know.
Like
most celebrities get talked to. It's a fun thing. So does that put any pressure on the development of the game at all, you think?
I don't think any more than we already had there. I think the most pressure that we get is from ourselves. Because we look at PlanetSide as a game that we want to do. We want PlanetSide 2 to be successful. All the pressure is coming from ourselves. All of our goals have been like reaching goals where everybody's saying this is really hard to do. All of it was we want to do this because we want to make it. Obviously, I mentioned this in the panel earlier. I don't know if but I was talking about how the hardest thing in the world is you've got your giant list of features that you have, and none of them feel like something that you can release the game. They all have to be there. They have to. You care so much about all of them. Right. But you know, part of my job is figuring out which ones don't have to be there, and it's heartbreaking every single time because there's very few people in the world that want the game to be successful and fun and exciting and last for years and years and years.
Right. That's a good way to stand on that. So one of our members, Mr. Wobbles, he submitted a write-up about increasing the movement speed in the game. Is that technically feasible to do, or is that more catered to the level design?
No, it's technically feasible to do. We can mess around with all that kind of stuff. We have different movement speeds. You get a vehicle and you go pretty quick. It's true, yeah. You just mean infantry movement speed.
Yeah, I'm guessing you meant more infantry.
Well, one of the things that we want to do is rather than making it be like a really twitchy, jump around kind of game, we wanted it to feel more like a tactical game where you're going from cover to cover. And that kind of necessitates a slightly slower movement speed, not necessarily a really fast movement speed. So, yeah, I mean, we can mess with it. We have. For a while, we had different classes that moved different speeds. Like the light assault moved faster than the medic and engineer. We've kind of gotten rid of that because it was hard to predict what you needed to do to lead targets. You know, you'd see some guy running and then all of a sudden it would be really hard to tell like where you need to lead to be able to shoot up. So predictability made more sense for us to have predictability.
What technical challenges has PlanetSide 2 brought to the table that differs from like the original PlanetSide?
Lots. We're trying to do a lot more. Right. This is just an insanely ambitious game. I mean, I know people realize that it's a technically challenging game to make, but I don't think very many people, except for programmers on our team, understand what a ridiculously technically challenging game it is.
I can actually imagine. It's fast.
It's insane, and not just because we have 2,000 players there, but the amount of different types of high-resolution characters we have to have loaded in all consoles. That kind of stuff strains the hell out of it. The amount of textures that we have just from all of our vehicles, 3 different empires, 2 different genders. All these characters take a lot. You look at a game with graphics like PlanetSide 2, they very rarely have the breadth of kind of character models that works. Like look at something like Battlefield. There's 2 different factions that are loaded, but it's all dudes. Most of the characters look the same. They have blood-filled textures on top of them. But for the most part, like there's not a lot of distinctive character differences on those characters compared to what we have with ours and all the different armors. All of our classes have unique textures on the table. So it's that kind of stuff is expensive. We had to figure out some really novel ways to be able to make that work. Especially another thing is most FPS games, you load the map, you don't know exactly what the manifest of that map is. In our case, we have a gigantic map. We can't have that fit within memory. So we have to do things like unload and unload things dynamically as we go around. And you don't want to have anything where like it lags a lot. Right. Lots of pitch loading, and everything like that, yeah. Exactly. Or just you're flying along and all of a sudden it says, oh, I have to load this asset, your hard drive spins for a second, you get a 1 second frame rate.
Right, and then you're vulnerable to that.
Exactly, right. Or it just ruins FPS because you can't have an FPS. For sure. So solving all those problems has been incredibly difficult. Luckily we have a technical team that is they're incredibly focused and they love challenges. So it's good. They got plenty ahead of them. They do. They have a lot behind them too. They've solved a lot of huge problems. That's not all the FPS. Sometimes people are like, oh, MMO, FPS, that sucks. Holy shit, how do you do that?
how the netcode works, kind of what's unique to the PlanetSide 2 netcode that allows so many players.
We have years and years of experience with doing networking for and remote games, being able to support thousands of players, proxying characters, making sure their network static is optimized. We use, I don't know how much I can talk about this, but we use lessons that we've learned over years and years and years of networking to be able to do the kind of things and simulate clients the way that we do. It's a particular core competency of our team. We have our own network technology
It worked really well. I mean, even in this beta phase, it's still really solid. There's no lag. It's really great.
Yeah, and it actually feels pretty good depending on latency too. Like you feel that you're getting a good FPS experience even when you have like 100, 150 milliseconds of latency, which is good. It's important.
Were there any times you had to compromise art design in favor of gameplay at all?
Yeah, of course.
I assume that's it.
We wanted to make 64 square maps. We had to figure out how to do that. Like what compromises need to be made to do that technically on our side standpoint and design standpoint. I wouldn't say it's compromise either. I hate the word compromise when we're talking about stuff. I feel like we're uncompromising as a team to refuse to accept like, well, this is good enough. We don't do that. We always say, like, well, we have to do it the best way possible. I would say that we're very pragmatic about the way that we figure out what features we're going to do and how we're going to put emphasis on certain areas to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward and making the best game possible and making the best decisions that, rather than being a compromise. I always tell people, I'm like, no, I don't like compromise. Because when you say like a vote and the hull is compromised, it means the fucking vote's going to say, no, I hate that word. I hate it. So it's not compromise. It's just being pragmatic about making sure that you're making smart decisions and choosing the right path.
So in the original PlanetSide, there was a Black Ops faction event, or even like major events for significant game changes like the bending. So are there any similar events planned for PlanetSide?
Yeah, nothing I really want to talk about too much because it's fun to have those be surprises. But we love dynamic content. We love being able to put things in that kind of shift things around for a little bit. So yeah, we're definitely planning.
Very cool. Okay, so a little question on the mobile app. I don't know how in development it is, but how interactive would the mobile app be to the full game? And like, could it potentially be used while playing the game as sort of a commander interface for your squad?
We've talked a lot about that. Well, first of all, you can look at real time and you can see it's basically like having a map up in game in real time on the app.
That is really awesome.
So if you have that up, you can just sit that on your right next to your computer, and you can have the mobile app up at all times. That's great. But we also have voice over IP. That's a really good set of connectivity, being able to just jump straight in and quickly be able to talk to your outfit. If you see something being captured, you can just do that right away.
Absolutely.
We've talked about later on, without giving away too many details, putting more stuff that allows you to communicate.
Stuff. Will there be any easier ways people are talking about to communicate and find their squad, random squads? Like people join a random squad, a little difficult to actually locate them and kind of find what's going on.
Well, what we need to do with auto squatting is make it so that it's based on proximity. It tries to find a squad that's close to where you are, in the same region or whatever that you're at, and put you there. And we are building those kind of heuristics into the auto squad.
Great. Okay, so people were kind of asking about this. Are we looking to get the jackhammer, the mini chain gun, lasher?
All three.
Great. Awesome.
We should have those on beta hopefully in the near future. We're not going to have every single weapon in the entire game up on beta. I mean, we're going to have a lot of the side grade weapons up. We're going to leave a lot of them to release and ship to.
Oh, great. That's cool. Yeah, I like that.
We want people to be able to still explore the game and not have it all figured out by the time they actually launch it.
Right, no, it's smart. So, is there any plan to make maxes less spammable? Maybe cost resources or have a timer that hits?
So the current plan right now, as of today, is to put more counters in for it. So rather than making it so that you are limited in your ability to get maxes, you're putting in more counters. So you just put C4.
Okay, so you're trying to look for ways to fight maxes and to
exactly.
To get
we want to make them be a little bit more integrated so that they're not the one trick loading where the best thing to have is a max.
Right,
and maxes don't have maxes. Exactly. Exactly. Maxes are the best counter maxes, and maxes are the only. Everything else
seems to be the situation now.
It is, yeah. So we're trying to put more counters in to make every anti-max a little bit more viable. And then, we're leaving the door open to doing things like that. We've talked about making it so that you can't spawn in as a max. You have to go to a quicker terminal and switch to a max. So now you can't squad spawn in as a max. Maybe galaxies don't allow you to switch to a max, that kind of thing. So you have to come from a hard spawn to be able to get a max. We've talked about that kind of stuff. Not necessarily like we planned right now. Those are all kind of tools in the toolbox that we can go to.
Around a bunch of ideas about it.
Exactly. Okay. We've talked a lot about it. We recognize this.
Okay. Isamir is said to have trenches. And so what other kind of emplacements or fortifications are we looking at in the future? Anything like that?
Well, we're really open-ended with the way that we create that kind of stuff. We have, even on Indar, you'll see towers that have turrets on top of them that are hanging out at certain outposts. Esamir, I think, is going to be more armor-heavy. Esamir, as a content, this is some exclusive infos on Esamir for you guys. I think Esamir has 20 regions that you can capture, as opposed to 75 that are on Indar. And that's intentional. We wanted to have a map that was more spread out.
Bigger chunks.
Exactly, yeah. Much bigger chunks and bigger travel distance between them. So when you're going from one to another, you're not just going from 200 meters this way to this way. And we want to see how that plays. And then Ambush is sort of in the middle of those two right now. And we're going to continue to mess with that kind of stuff. And then maybe we'll find that where the sweet spot is for these. But it's cool having concepts that just have communities. It's the same size, it's not smaller.
Right,
it just sounds expansive.
That sounds a lot more open and costs a lot more different value.
Yeah, Esamir is very desolate. It is.
Alright, what about hazardous environments like field players? Has that been talked about? Like lava streams, active volcanoes?
We're doing Cirrus and then we'll have lava.
As lava does?
Yeah, lava tends to.
So what about, I had a couple people asking about like a divide between air, ground, and infantry, like having maybe a canopy where planes can come down into, or swampy terrain that infantry can different things like that.
Yeah, I mean, to some degree we've experimented a lot with that on Indar. The 3 areas of Indar each sort of have different terrain features that are supposed to allow for different kinds of gameplay to be viable. So up on the Highlands area, there's lots of trees with wide canopies that mean that infantry can run from tree to tree and defend themselves against air. The canyon areas are really designed for infantry to be able to get up above ground vehicles, so ground vehicles aren't going to be able to be as strong. Not only are they limited in the number of directions they can move in, but if infantry is up above them, they can rain rockets down on top of them. That's kind of cool. So, yeah, I mean, we played around with that a little bit. I wouldn't say that any of the areas that we're trying to build are going to say, this is the only place out there. You can't fly airplanes through here.
Okay, so you just don't want it. Okay, you don't want
we just
that.
want to maybe have it more advantageous. Right, when we say, hey, this area is fun to run around as infantry because we actually have a little bit of a handicap.
Some protection against it. Alright, let's see. Has there been any commitments made concerning the support of extraordinary peripherals like the feedback devices, like head tracking software,
Track IR, and Oculus Rift, and
the Rift,
yeah, we tried out the Rift. Jamel and I got to try it out at Gamescom. It was really exceptionally cool. Awesome. I'm looking forward to being able to introduce it. We don't have any plans today, right now, on that kind of tech yet, but from what I understand, it's something that isn't like a tremendous amount of time to be able to implement, and I think it adds a ton.
Yeah, it's really good. Really good. A lot of immersive.
It's exceptional.
I'm looking forward to trying it out sometime.
They have something kind of similar with the Alien Equipment. They have head tracking. It's not 3D though.
Okay.
It can be 3D, but I don't think they have it 3D right now. But you can get what the head tracking is like. It's neat.
I'll try that out. Okay, just a few more here. Why? This is an interesting question. Why are AA turrets recently now not rendering within 200 meters, and aircraft still renders out as far as possible?
They're different vehicle classes, essentially.
Okay. So they were just wondering if that was a balancing decision to give long range more cloaking power in turrets.
No, right now it's actually a performance band-aid that we put in. It's not something that this is how we intended to be forever. There's lots of all those vehicles with physics, and everything that has physics has a CPU cost on your computer. So the more vehicles that you're rendering, the more vehicles that you're rendering, the more physics processing you're going on your computer right now, and it slows you down. That's why base flights are really bad. Sometimes you taking you down there. There's a lot of vehicles taking you down there. Yeah. So we're doing a lot of optimization to try to clean that up, and the eventual goal is to make it so that you can see that stuff. But right now we have limitations, so based on the type of vehicle, small vehicles have X distance before they automatically get turned off. And there's no kind of relevancy where I'm looking this direction and we're going to turn them off. This is radial right now. Again, that's something that we're adding red and that kind of stuff where it's like, oh, I'm looking in this direction, so I care about stuff that's in this direction. I might not care about stuff that's awesome. And we're building on getting all those optimizations in there.
Alright, so today, do you guys think that idling is a bit of a problem? Do you guys have any ways to resolve that? This ties to like a problem of acquiring Araxium through idling. When people have logged in, there's just 30 people sitting at the warp zone.
Okay, it's just idling for Araxium. Is there any issue?
We need to put like an idle pick actually that moves people in.
Right,
The thing is, like, people just come up with some stupid fucking bot that hits the spacebar every 10 seconds.
Right, yeah, exactly. It's kind of a hard way to counteract that, for sure.
No, there's ways to do it for sure. And we're working on it. Alright, that's just not the top of our priority list right now. We're trying to get the game functional and fun, and then worry about exploits and that kind of thing later.
Fine-tuning stuff.
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess a big question was, will we ever see the addition of
That's it.
It won't be in time for launch, but it's definitely something that is on. You guys have heard from time to time we've talked about having a 5-year plan. We have a lot of features that are basically like large-scale features, whether they're warfare or the X content, Y content, that kind of stuff. We want to actually list that stuff up and let people actually vote on it and let us know which ones they feel like are the coolest ones and which ones we should focus on first. The community, I would say, is what we're building for them first. So yeah, I mean, that kind of neighborhood would be something really
Well, Matt Higby, I appreciate your time.
I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. We look forward to everything you guys are putting ahead of us. And yeah, again, thanks for the interview.
Thank you, man. Thanks for coming by.
Likewise.
Bye, guys.